So I remember changing my prayer from God, give me a job, give me this, give me this, give me that, to God, prepare me for whatever you have in store for me, prepare me for whatever you are, for whatever you have planned for me. And I also remember praying and telling God to give me a good sight, to be able to recognize when He blesses me with things that I asked for once, but in a different package, to be able to recognize my blessings in whatever package they come in. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So if you're new, I'm Sheila. If you're not, thank you so much for coming back. So I know that I have not been around for a very long time, and that is because I decided to take time off from YouTube and figure out if this is something that I really wanted to do. Because during the times that I would post and be active on here, I used to struggle with so much anxiety and nitpicking and questioning myself and questioning my work and questioning my content, if it was something that anyone would be interested in, and for that reason I decided to take a break and figure it out. So I am back now, and hopefully to stay. The break was not supposed to take this long, but it did, and what's important for me is that I did get my answer, and I think that I really am back to stay. So yeah, I just wanted to thank you guys so much for staying, for whatever reason you guys did, which could probably just be that you forgot to unsubscribe. So thank you so much regardless. So I wanted to give you guys an update on my life, because it's been 6 months, and just fill you guys in on what has been happening around here and in my life. And yeah, so so much has happened, and I just figured that out today when I was organizing my thoughts in preparation for this video, that so much has happened. It's funny how every single day nothing happens, and then you look back 3 months ago and so much has changed, so much has happened. So yeah, the first thing is that I am done with school now. So now I am an adult. So yeah, I am back home. I am done with school. The transition from being a full-time student living on her own to being a full-time stay-at-home daughter, aunt, sister, was something that I had to adjust back into and ease back into it. Yeah, so the first few days that I was home, I was excited for this part. No one around here asks you for money. No one here asks you to provide. No one asks you, you just sit and eat, and food is provided. So that part was, I was very shocked. I was like, oh my god, no one is asking me for money for food. So that part was very exciting. The part that wasn't, though, that I wasn't even thinking about, was that now that I'm back home and I'm under people, I have to ask for permission every time that I have to go out, because I come from a very strict household. So that's what we do around here. So say I'm meeting Ivy, I'll have to say, I am meeting Ivy for 3.5 hours, so I'll be back by 7:30 latest if there's traffic. So that is what we do around here. We give details. Yeah, so that part was a little hard, being that I had gotten out of it for some time, so it was not very easy to ease back into, but I did, and so we're good now. So the first few days that I finished school, I can say, were a little hard, because I thought, oh, I'll just rest and sleep in and just rest for say 2 weeks, and then it's go time. But things did not happen, and things have not been happening the way that I had planned them out in my head to go. You know how we plan our lives and say, this is what needs to happen, and this is what I'm doing, and now that I'm done with school, this is how my life needs to go, and I need to do this by this time, and I need to do this by this, and this and this and this and that. And then reality hits you that things really will not go the way that you planned them, and things will not follow the script that you have in your head of how your life is supposed to go. So that part was, I was not ready for. No one prepared me for that part. And so the first few days were, I can say, a little frustrating, but I would wake up every day and be miserable. I would wake up every day and be very frustrated with myself and just with life, because I did not understand why things would not go, because I felt like this not going this way would eventually destroy the script of my life. If I do not start now, then my goals of 2022 I will not be able to achieve them. If I do not start by this month, then that will not happen. And so that part was very, very, very frustrating. So every day I would wake up and think, oh, I need to get myself a job, oh, I need to do this, and oh, if I do not get a job by this time, then I will not be able to do this and that and that and that by the age that I had planned for myself too. And so I would get really, really frustrated, and I would get, eventually I started to become very miserable. And so I had to find something to get myself out of that state, because I figured that that was happening because I had so much time on my hands and nothing to do with it. So I just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about the part that got me out of my frustration and out of that miserable place. So what happened is that I one day figured out that I was asking God for the opportunity to move forward with my life, but there were things that I had not already done that are supposed to prepare me for my future. I don't know if you guys understand what I'm saying. That it's like there's something really, really important that I had to do that I had not done, but that I feel now that I am doing it. I feel now that I would not be able to move on with my life if I had not figured out this part of my life. And so the part that I really, really had to work on and that I had to figure out was my relationship with God. So one day I really, really, really woke up with a longing to create a relationship with God and just build it, because I figured out that all throughout campus, every time that someone would ask me if I was saved, I would not know what to say. And I told my best friend more than once that I used to feel like I would go to church every once in a while and I would pray every once in a while. And I used to tell her that I did not feel like me and God were, I don't know how to put it. I used to feel like me and God had drifted. So I did not know what to say when people asked me about my relationship with him. I just would acknowledge his existence and his handprints on my life and all of the things that he had done for me and how much I loved him. But as far as having a personal relationship with him, I did not. So on that specific day, and I have it on my phone because I really don't want to forget it, but now I have the exact date that I woke up and decided that I want to work on this part of my relationship with God, because it really is the most important one. So I woke up with a thirst, I woke up with a longing to be closer to God and to know God more and to know him better every single day. I did not know how to go about it because I had had pastors before pray for me, that prayer of salvation, that I accept Jesus. You know that prayer? Yeah. So I had that prayer prayed over me, but I did not know what to do after. Like, I did not know how to go. I knew that nimeombewa hiyo maombi, but I do not know what to do. Like, what do I do about it now? How do I go about it? But then I did figure out this time that I've been home that I used to feel like me and God had drifted because I was not constantly seeking him and I was not in constant communication with him. So every time back then that I would pray, I would tell my friends even that I felt like I could not reach him, like he could not get into the praying spirit. I would pray like, oh God, thank you for food and life, and then that's it. I could not, I used to try so hard, but I couldn't. And so eventually I just got out of the praying habit, and I would pray every once in a while when it came to me to pray. But as far as having a habit of prayer and being consistent in prayer and constantly seeking God and being close to God, I was not working on that part. So I made a conscious decision to wake up every single day and be intentional about seeking God, and be intentional about knowing more about God, and be intentional about reading my Bible, and every single day. So yeah, so during the first days I remember praying and asking God for the discipline, and I remember praying and asking God to forgive me and take me back, if you guys know what I mean. And I don't know, maybe this time is what it wasn't so hard because it is something that I really wanted. And what I realized is that all I needed to do was want to have that relationship with God. All that I needed to do was have the longing that I did not have before. And all I needed to do was just be in constant communication with God and be consistent in prayer. And so I remember the first few days deciding to work on myself, and to really dig deep into my heart and in my soul, and know who I am, because I wanted to present to God my true self. I wanted to present to God who Sheila really is. Because one day I was reading a book that said, it's a book written by Sarah J. Roberts, and there's a part of that book that says you cannot encounter God until you have self-intimacy. Like, you really have to know who you really are, so that you can present to God your true self. You can present to God who you really are, your most wounded parts, your frustrations, your darkest, whatever is your ugliest, your flaws, all of that. You cannot present to God who you think that God wants to see. And so for me, I had to be very introspective with myself and figure out who I really am, like deep down, like from the things that we think are least important to the most important ones, from just everything that makes me me. I wanted to figure that out so that I could be open with God and be very transparent. So I feel like what I can say is that, now fast forward to where I am, is that there are so many realizations that I've had ever since I've been in communication with God, ever since I started to build this relationship. There are so many things that I have realized now that if I knew a few months ago, if I knew a few years ago, even if I just knew a little earlier in my life, I feel like there are so many things that I would not have done. There are so many life decisions that alter my life in the long term that I would not have made. And I just feel like I would be better maybe, but I mean, it's never too late, really. And I'm just really happy that it happened when it happened, because now it is something that I really wanted. And that is all it takes. All it takes is for you to really, it has to be a personal decision. No one can teach you that, and no one can put that into you. It has to come from, you have to so badly want it. And I know that is what happened for me, and that is how my story went. And what I can tell you guys is that during the time that I've been working on mending my relationship with God, what I've realized and what I've learned is that I cannot sit here and tell you that I woke up the next day and everything was okay, and everything that I had prayed for I had now, and that everything was falling into place, and that things were aligning suddenly because I had decided to create and build a relationship. No, that is not what happened. And if I'm being honest, some of the things that I really was frustrated about, and some of the things that I would pray for even back then, some of those prayers have not been answered, but I'm choosing to focus now on the prayers that have actually been answered. It doesn't matter how small you think they are, your prayers. It doesn't matter how, in comparison to the ones that have not been answered, how you think that the ones that have been answered are small. they have been answered, and that is the part that I choose to see now. I choose to live every day with an attitude of gratitude, and I choose to ask God every single day to open my eyes enough to be able to see my blessings, and to be able to see his answers, even if they come in a different package from the one that I expected. So my prayer now is just that if God is trying to teach me something, because as I've told you guys, I was thinking, oh, I'll be done with school and get a job, and when that wasn't happening, I started to become very, very frustrated. But then I thought, we are taught to enjoy every single season of our life and every single period of our life, and I know that, especially for me, because I have zero patience, the waiting part can be so hard, and so the waiting part no one ever gets excited for. And so I just decided to work on certain areas of my life while I wait. And I decided that if God is really preparing me for something that he has in store for me, that does not look like what I thought in my head that I wanted it to look like, if God is preparing me, then I really need to put in the work. If God is preparing me, then I really need to be open-minded enough to be able to take the lesson, to be able to work on myself enough as far as preparation for whatever he has in place for me, or whatever he has in store for me. And so I decided to make this waiting period count for me, and I can promise you guys that in my entire life, I have never known as much peace as I know right now. Like literally, even in the middle of chaos, there is so much peace. And I mean that in the most honest way possible, that there is so much peace literally in the middle of chaos, and things could be falling apart, and this is not happening, and I need this to happen, but it is not, and this is not changing, and this is so bad, because I figured out while I was trying to work on myself that I'm the biggest complainer, and at the slightest inconvenience I go, oh my God, my life is so hard, and this is so hard, and the worst has happened, and what else could possibly go wrong, and I'm in my 20s, send help, and my life is just so hard, and why me, and all of that stuff. So I am a very big complainer, and so that part I also have been working on, to just develop gratitude. And so I just wanted to tell you guys that there's so much covering that comes with prayer, and the amount of peace that comes with it is unmatched. I do not know anything like it, honestly. And so yeah, I wake up every day and I'm very intentional about wanting to know more about God today than I did last night, and being very intentional about reading my Bible, and being very intentional about doing everything that helps me with my pursuit, in my pursuit for God, and in my pursuit for a friendship, a relationship, and with God. So yeah, ever since I decided to put God at the center of everything that I do, at the center of literally every single thing that I do, from the smallest to the biggest life decisions that I've had to make, I now make those decisions with God. And every time I still plan, I still make plans for my life, and I still think, oh, I really would love it if it went like this. This is what I'll do, and then this is what I'll do, and then this is what I'll do. But now the difference is that I actually do leave plan, and I mean I do leave room for God's plan, because eventually I want my plans to align with his. I want my plans for my life to align with his, and so I leave room for his plans. I do not just plan and go and get frustrated when it doesn't happen. So that is what I wanted to talk to you guys about. I think this literally is the best decision that I've ever had to make for myself, is to follow God and want my knowledge about him to reflect on the outside, and to reflect on the way that I treat people, and the way that I interact with people, and all of that stuff. So my biggest prayer is that I would be able to see God's handprints on my life every single day. And so ever since I've been reading and learning and doing all of that stuff, there's so much that I've learned that I wanted to share with you guys. I had it on paper somewhere. So the biggest lessons that I've learned throughout this period I feel like this video has been all over the place because I've just been rambling. So guys, please bear with me. I was a little anxious. So these are the lessons that I've learned that I wanted to share with you guys. The first one is that it's a miracle that you can breathe. And this one I learned from a song by Maverick City and Jonathan McReynolds. And this line I feel like has created a very, very big shift in my life and in my thinking. And it has helped me so much with gratitude, because there are so many things like just breathing that we take for granted, but it really is a miracle to wake up and be breathing. It's a miracle that God allows us every single day that we wake up to be a part of what He's doing with the world, to be a part of what He's doing with His kingdom. And so my biggest goal at the end of this is to figure out what role I can play as far as the building of God's kingdom. The second one is to not question the motives of the person that put me where I am. I feel like you guys should borrow this. It means so much to me. Do not ever question the motives of the person that put you where you are, and that person is God. And the other one is to always find something to be grateful for. And I added something and said there's always something. There really is always something to be grateful for. And that takes us back to the first lesson, that it's a miracle to breathe. So every time that you feel like something is not happening, or things are not happening, or everything is going wrong, remember that as long as you have breath, there is hope. And as long as you have breath, God is not done with you, and God does have a plan for you. He does have a plan for your life, and God knows. The fourth one is that we are allowed to be here. So every single time that every day that you wake up, it is because God allows you to be here. So I decided that because God allows me to be here, and God really wants me to be here, to start creating a delightful experience for myself and for my life. And so yeah, I feel like I have been doing that. The fifth one is that God doesn't ever tell us to go and fix ourselves. This was very important for me at the beginning of my journey, because I remember feeling like, well, what do I do now? There's so much that I haven't done. And I remember even back then when people would ask me if I was saved, I would tell my best friend that I do not know if I have enough spiritual intelligence, and I do not know if I am doing enough as far as salvation, or as far as being saved. So I did not know at the beginning of this journey what my first step was supposed to look like. But this realization that God doesn't ever say go and fix yourself was very, very important. Like, God doesn't tell you no, not you, not now. Go and do this and do this and do this, and then come back and pray. Do this and do this and do this, and then come. He does not. I feel like God does not. He's not like human. He does not tell you, oh, you need 5 years experience. And He doesn't say you're not qualified for this and you're not qualified for that. The mere fact that you can breathe qualifies you to pray. The mere fact that you can breathe qualifies you for worship. So qualifies you for a relationship with God if you want it. So that part was also very, very important. The sixth one is God doesn't promise that you will face no problems once you are saved. In fact, I think there's a verse that I read in a devotional that I was reading one day that says that God does not promise that you will face no troubles or that you will face no challenges. He does promise, however, to sit with you right in the middle of those challenges. He promises to sit with you, and He promises to be with you, and He promises that you can still talk to Him, and He promises to still like, God does promise to be with you in your darkest moments, and He promises to be with you in your worst hours and in your darkest hours and all of that stuff. So it does not matter what you're going through, God is with you. The last one says that when you feel like it's been too silent for too long, God could be trying to teach or communicate something to you. So I did learn that there is communication in silence. So guys, I feel like this is going to be the longest video ever, but I did want to put all of these things that I have across, and so I hope that this video blesses you in one way or another, or that it changes the way that you think, or that it helps you even in the slightest way possible. So Remember to always leave room for God's plan as you plan. Remember every single day that God wants you to be here. Remember every single day that God has a plan for your life, that it may not look like anything is happening, but He is working. And yeah, so that is everything that I wanted to tell you guys. Please forgive me if I have rambled. If you got to this point of the video, I really appreciate you so much. So thank you for supporting me with the things that I do with my channel, and I'll see you guys in my next video. So be blessed, stay safe, take care of yourself, and all of that stuff. So yeah, bye.